All right, so my name is Patrick. I'm the product manager for M12 Heated Gear. Really excited to have you guys here today to talk about the new mannequin army full of heated gear. For us, this category is really an extension of what Tom talked about in the beginning, about this vision for a system that looked at tasks that used to be maybe hand-powered or have no automation at all and adding batteries to them to improve the user experience and change the way they work. So, some obvious ones, the PVC shears, copper tubing cutters, things that people were doing by hand. This is almost like the extension of that. Battery-powered jackets aren't something that 5 years ago that you thought about sort of in your daily vocabulary, and now, we're really proud to be the category leader in this space and try to continue to push it and take it to the next level. For us, being a category leader isn't so much an accomplishment as it is a commitment to innovation and to really changing what people do and the way that they think about Milwaukee as a company and what we can do for them. We are a true solutions provider, and I think this is really what that's all about. To sort of walk through what we're going to talk about today, we're going to start by explaining what's going on behind me here and what kind of magic we've brought to this idea to explain what core heat really means and to explain the concept of heated gear. Then we're going to talk about our jacket redesign. So a lot of you guys have seen what our jackets have been and what they are, but we're learning a lot about what it means to be a leader in heated gear, and that's not just battery technology, that's garment technology and the ways that we can compete with not just power tool companies, but the companies that make $400, $500, $600 ski jackets. And then last, we're going to look at new product expansion. So some really cool stuff that we're pretty pumped about and we think is going to help bring the heavy-duty Milwaukee promise from the job site to other areas. So without further ado, we'll get to this guy. So we've always talked about, I think, since I started, what do we do to really emphasize the idea of cold weather. We bring you here in June, July, and August and say, care about heated gear. But if you've ever lived in the Midwest, you know that winter is always pending, especially in August. An 85-degree day at the end of the month could really easily be 35 come the middle of September. So, we started with the idea of a beer truck. A lot of you guys especially would like a beer truck. We'll bring you in, we'll put jackets on. If I'm terrible, then we'll just give you beer and nobody will remember, and we'll steal the show. That logistically was not very feasible and might have been a liability issue. So then we thought, okay, we can tell you how hot the heating elements are, or something along those lines, to try to impress you with a top line number, 100 degrees, 135 degrees, whatever it is. But that's not really relevant to the user, right? They're never going to feel 100 degrees or 135 degrees, and if they did, they'd probably be mad at us. So what we wanted to do here, and what the purpose of this demo is to recreate extreme conditions, to recreate that experience. So what we have is a commercial ice freezer here that you can see the ambient temperature hovers around 20, 25 degrees. We've got a fan blowing because if you ever spent any time in the northern half of the country, the temperature is one thing, but when the wind blows, it's a whole nother ball game. And then, sort of littered across the mannequin, we have these temperature sensors. No black magic by any means, just a copper square that's wired out through some electronics in this box, through the computer, and up to these live displays. So what these live displays are doing then is live reading what the temperature readouts are from the inside and the outside of the jacket. We've got 4 on the front, 2 on the back, and they're mirrored on the inside. So essentially, where some of that heat is taking place. And what this demo really reflects is a two-part approach to heated gear for Milwaukee. One part that we understand, this idea that we put heat in a jacket, but the other part that we're learning and we're evolving, and that's what are these jackets made out of? How are we really improving the user experience with these jackets? So as we move through, from our first season to our 5th, we're really changing the way we think about adding heat to a jacket. It started out, hey, we put heat in it, we did it, awesome. Now we're saying, all right, where do we put this heat? How do we work around it? Where do we position it? How do we keep it close to the body? Because the effect is stronger when it's close to the body. We're also thinking about what do we make our products out of? Is it just, some off-the-shelf insulation and some off-the-shelf exterior? Or is it an exterior material that can stand up to the job site, the right amount of insulation in the right places, and then thermal materials on the inside that really keep you warm? So as you watch this demo, what you're going to see is that we're going to drive about a 25-degree difference from ambient temperature to the inside of the jacket. And for users, that means a lot less layers. 25 degrees may not seem like a huge number, But if you think about how your body traditionally works in cold weather, your body has to create the heat, and depending on how cold it is, you put on layers and layers and layers to trap that heat in. And what Milwaukee does with heated gear is create that heat for you, create that active heat, heat the core, keep the parts of your body that need to stay moving warm, and then we're taking big steps in terms of garment technology to trap that heat. So this is live. I mean, this is an area mapped out of those temperatures to really show you what's happening. And the exciting part for us actually is this screen. Nothing's changed since we've turned it on. It's the boring blue screen. It's not what you're taking pictures of, but the idea of the blue screen is really representative of how we're pushing this category forward, how we're listening to users, and how we're taking it essentially to the next level. So with that being said, maybe shift the focus a little bit over here. This can keep running. That differential is going to continue to increase. And we found that whether we run that at 0, 10, 20, 30, that 20, 25 degrees is always constant. It just varies up or down the scale. So again, it's all about less layers, more flexibility, and giving users a solution that changes the way they think about power tool batteries and power tool companies. So if you look at our first season, right? Some of you guys, I'm sure most of you guys got these if you've been around for a while. We basically put heat in a jacket. This liner is a thin polyester. It's really not sewn to anything. It's an off-the-shelf solution that we put heat in and called it Milwaukee. And at the time, we were really proud of it, but we didn't know anything about making a jacket. We had no idea. So after a couple years, we listened to users. We heard them say, it's cool, I get the idea. Put heat in a jacket, it'll figure itself out. And we said, all right, how do we make it better? So we put fleece throughout the entire jacket. The obvious advantage of fleece is it makes the garment more durable, it adds some warmth, but there are still some things that are nuanced about keeping you warm, especially with heating zones. It's not just about the materials, it's about cut, it's about fit, it's about being smart, and that's where we're at with our third season here. So you're going to see sort of the drastic differences in look as you move from your left to right. And we've done a lot of things this year to essentially start over. Say, all right, we have heating technology, we want to make that better, but this jacket thing that we've had isn't working for us. Let's scrap it and rebuild from the ground up. So as we learned as a company, what we did was essentially take this thermal fleece, center it in the areas where you need that warmth, around the heating zones, to help drive that effect that you're seeing on the left screen here. We also took the insulation and said, let's not just put the same amount of insulation throughout the entire jacket, let's increase the weight of it in these core zones to drive the effect that you're seeing on the right here. Nothing's happening, right? This heat's getting created and it's not escaping. We're also giving you more flexibility in the shoulder zones where warmth isn't as crucial, but you need the mobility to get overhead across your body. And doing a lot of things with the cut to really improve the way that the heating elements stay close to your body. So we realized that we don't really cater to a slim fit audience per se, but even without that, you can do some things to stitching and to cut to make sure that the core and chest heating zones are staying close to your body so the heat effect can be maximized and you can really feel the benefit of the jacket. I'm sure a lot of you noticed, and we've talked about already, the aesthetic effect is also something we're excited about. It's one part user-driven, one part market-driven. We've added the gray two-tone to the red and the black styles. It also is a little bit about durability. It's a high abrasion zone, right? Your arms brush a lot. It helps kind of take some of the wear from the underside of the jacket. Realtree Extra, we're continuing our partnership with them. If any of you guys are hunters, it's one of the most popular patterns in the country and one of the most inclusive. So then as we move from left to right, we have our high-vis lineup and our women's jacket. These haven't changed much this year. We're not going to spend a ton of time on them. We did add the USB charger to the women's jacket this year, so that now comes standard. Other than that, we've done some updating on zippers and small components to mirror some of the upgrades we made on our major jackets. Then as we continue the train down here, most of you are familiar with hoodies because you were here last year, but we're really excited about hoodies still. They did tremendously well last year with users, and really the same principles apply. It's just this idea of core heat with a different spin. Core heat in a jacket relies more on a sort of a bigger garment, right? Something that can be sort of a standalone solution. But what we found is that on job sites, people aren't just dressing like that. They wear layers. They wear a lot of layers. And that's something that they choose to do even if they have heated technology. So what hoodies do is they give users that flexibility. We have something that can work by itself in the fall or the spring. Maybe you turn it on in the morning when it's chilly and then turn it off and just wear it as a durable hoodie when the sun comes out later in the day. But also in the winter, it can go under a heavy jacket and take the place of an extra couple sweatshirts, right? So now you're not wearing a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt, a sweatshirt, another layer, and then your heavy jacket. You wear a Milwaukee hoodie, you still drive that 25-degree differential, but you're relying on another garment to sort of work and trap the heat in. This year we're offering black. That's really a user-driven thing. We heard a lot of gray's cool, but like I want something that's a little bit more in line with what I like. So we're pretty excited about that. The next two hoodies, we have two different kind of camo patterns. And before we get to that, I do want to take a minute to step back and kind of bring you across this board, right? We've gone from this wood frame house into the woods. And some of you, especially those of you that have been here for a while, are going to ask, why is Milwaukee spending all this time on camo products? You always tell us about your core users and who your core users are and that you're doing everything for the job site. Why are your 3 new products in the camo space? And the answer for us is our core user. What we learned from these guys is that the same guys that use their hands all day, that are outside all day, are the guys that are going out into the woods on the weekend. The guys that are building their own cabins, working on their own houses. It's a different space, but it's the same general needs, and we want to be able to bring that Milwaukee quality and that Milwaukee durability that they trust at work all day to their lives, whether it's on Monday, Tuesday, or Saturday and Sunday. And that's really why we're excited about these camo hoodies and the new 3-in-1 jacket. It is Milwaukee. It's quintessentially Milwaukee. It does come from us listening. It's just a different spin on the usual story. So diving into the products themselves, they're going to share a lot of the same features as the standard hoodies. They have heating zones across the chest and the back. But we've also pulled some features that are necessary to the camo jacket onto the hoodies. So these are all going to be laminated, so they're noise reducing. So if you are hunting, you can stay quiet in the woods. They also have a degree of water repellency. Not as water resistant as the jackets, but the idea is that, if you're wearing one of these guys and it starts to rain or you're in a wet environment, you can put a bright yellow poncho over the top. You can't do that with this because you're wearing camo for a reason most of the time. So we needed to give them the protection that they needed from the elements. And really just the versatility and the comfort to be able to expand your solution set all the way on or off the job site. And the last one, and maybe sort of the flagship of this season, is going to be the 3-in-1 jacket, which, per what I said earlier, it really is just another step on what core heat means. And this takes it to the next level by really understanding that if you want to stay warm with heated technology, you have to keep those heating elements close to your body. So we thought, okay, we can make a bulkier jacket, but if we make a bulkier jacket, people are going to put sweatshirts underneath it. That heat's going to stay far away from you. You're not going to feel the net benefit. So by separating it and going with a heated vest and then a detachable shell, you give users the option to use that heated vest, keep it close to their body, keep it as a base layer potentially as they need to in between the vest and the shell, or put the shell on for ultimate warmth. So it really is an all-season solution. You have this versatile play where, and we've had a couple people say, I wear vests every day. Where are the vests? I just want the vest. We're working on it. But it also gives you that option to say, all right, I want a solution that's going to keep me warm if I'm in a tree stand for 6 hours or if I have to work for 6 hours. And this really is sort of the ultimate package. The vest has all the same features that you're used to with the jacket. It's got the chest and back heat zones, the heated pockets, adjustable temperature controls, and the shell has all the same features as you're used to with the camo jacket, water resistant, noise reducing. It's also got a detachable hood. Another just kind of neat feature is that the shell has pass-through pockets, so it's got its own pockets, but then zippers that go underneath to the vest pockets, so it's easier to get what's underneath there, whether it's ammo or just your battery. So really, if you look across this line from the 3-in-1 to the hoodies and all the way down, it really is all about the work that you do, right? Because you're not just working Monday through Friday, you do a lot of different stuff, and the difference between jackets and hoodies and heated gear is that it's not like a circular saw or a hacksaw where if you can cut these 3 things, the user's satisfied. They need to be satisfied across whatever they do. So that's why we're really excited about our breadth of line and where we're going with the category. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I've got samples of everything new on the rack there. Been encouraging mannequin selfies. You guys, I was hoping, would be the group that would really elevate mannequin selfie level.
Remember, for more exciting tool action, go to toolsinaction.com.